Okay, so can you maybe give us some techniques as to how we might be able to manipulate matter, for instance, having a topspin or manifest the apple in the hand?
It is actually an easy concept. However, we know it's not going to perceive as such.
Yes.
How we would try to explain it in terms that would make sense in this realm is this is water. It's continuously moving. This is what it is, right? Now, what would happen is if one would focus and see the current, one could use the thought of what we would say the belief, the perception, and change the current and say, this current is flowing in a certain direction. I want it to move into a different current. And then you lace the intent on the energy. This is what Natasha must start doing. You two need to start manipulating water first, because water is the easiest, because everything is water. So this is what must be done. Place water in front of you, a glass, something you can see. And you are going to look at the frequency. You are going to stare at it, and not with the eyes, with the heart. You are going to feel the current as if you would take your mind space and say that this piece of your body is in that glass. And you need to feel it in your chest. And let's say if you feel the water is still but hovering, then you're going to start to create the manipulation through the heart and say you are going to start to move it. And by this current is going to move and start going into that energy, and it's going to start creating the manipulation, and it will start
Okay.
rotating.
And you're saying you can close your eyes for that and then just imagine that with your heart, feeling it with your heart.
There's many ways of doing such. If it is going to make you feel better, you can do it that way.
Okay.
One could just look at it and say, move,
I
and
think
it will move.
I think we've all tried to do that and it hasn't worked, but I do
Yes,
like the
but it's because
concept.
none believe truly when they do it.
Yes. But I think the technique you're explaining with using the heart and through the heart kind of feeling that current move,
Yes,
the
this
current
is
will
the
move.
easiest
Yes. Okay.
because everything in this reality that shifts and moves with the frequencies comes from the heart. So if the heart controls it, the heart can manipulate the matter. This is why we keep saying connect back to the heart and one can change one's reality.
Yes, but it's kind of like those martial artists, right? They kind of are very much in the heart when they're basically defying gravity.
Yes, because when one can control the electromagnetic field that pumps out of this section, one can manipulate the currents. And when you manipulate the currents, you change the atom shape and form. This is why you could create an apple. This is why you could create a banana. They have different currents that create that frequency base. So once you actually know how to tap into it and you change the frequency base, the current that creates the shape, therefore you can create the object that you need.
Okay. Okay, and how should we practice this? If we're feeling the current, we do it with the water, right? And then we kind of get the water to move. What would
Yes.
be the next step?
Once the water would start moving,
Mm-hmm.
you would start giving the water an intent.
Okay.
This is what Jesus did when he turned the water to wine. All
Oh,
he did was he felt with the heart, he looked at the water, and he commanded it. And he said, all of the vitamins and minerals and molecules inside of this, which is giving the perception of fluid, he wants them to change to the perception of wine. And so they did. So it is once you can start to move the current, then the belief will be stronger, then you can lace a deeper intent.
okay.
It is the intent that you place is the most important. The intent is the command on the energy. So if you place the intent that you would want wine, but you try to manifest whiskey, it is not going to happen.
Okay. But if you would place the intent, for example, the intent now with the water is to create a whirlpool. So then you create a whirlpool within your heart, right? Within the energy of your heart, and then the water will follow suit.
Yes,
Is that the technique?
that is the technique. But you must perceive it in the area. So as we say, you feel it here, but your eyes, your perception is seeing it there. So as if the water you're seeing in the cup is the
Okay.
water in your heart. And once you start manipulating like that, then you'll be able to manipulate anything.
It sounds very easy though. What happens if we lose focus or lose?
This will happen many times.
Okay, what
This
should
is
we
not
do
going
then?
to happen in the first, second, or third time around.
Yes.
This is going to take time because you have to first break away the belief structure that is said that you cannot move the water.
Okay.
This is what it's about. You're trying to do it, but you have been taught that there is a glass of water and it will always be that. How can you manipulate it?
Mm-hmm.
It is literally to get rid of this mindset of what it is. And when you understand the perception is free and it needs a label, and if you label it with the right intent, it will be what you ask.
Okay, yes. Your wish is my command, like you said, right?
Yes,
Energy is basically
but
like
it
that.
is like being an athlete. You cannot go run a marathon and expect to be fine. Every day you must stretch. You must go a little further. So you start with a small body of water. Does not mean that you'll be able to manipulate a big body.
Mm-hmm.
Once you master that, you move to a bigger water and bigger and bigger. Some won't even be able to manipulate water. Some will be able to manipulate the plants.
Mm,
One must stem from your energy source. One will be able to have their plants in their house grow quite fast and quickly by the energy that they give out as they
yes.
feed off the frequency. It's just depending on which base is more comfortable for your energy.
Yes, my mom is like that. Every plant she looks at becomes like an overgrown mass.
Hmm. Because that is the intent that she projects into them. So if you use the same context and project from the chest into the water, you can manipulate it.
So with a plant, for example, how would one do that? Like if you in your heart, would you kind of just feel the growth in the heart?
Yes, the plant grows off the frequency, off the love. So by you giving love to that plant, you
Okay.
feed that light and they absorb it like a food and then they start to grow.
Okay. And then what about air? How would one manipulate air going through the elements?
The air is the most fun,
The
as we would say.
airbender.
The air is one that takes long to master because it is all purely done with feeling.
Hmm.
It is the feeling of the wind and the motion because there's nothing there but the feeling. That is what wind is. So if one can be in tune completely with the feeling, one can manipulate the air.
So it's the sensation of feeling the wind like on your skin, is that what you're saying? And you
Yes,
feel that inside your heart.
yes. One
Okay.
could practice by standing in the wind and then projecting out that the wind is getting slower and slower until it starts to die down. Natasha has done this before. However, she still chooses to believe that it is not real.
We need that in Cape Town to calm down the wind.
It is the best, the wind, as it is shaping so much in the energy field. What is happening is the frequency bases, the little rainbows, is shaping and connecting things. And the wind is taking it and pushing it together in patterns to create matter. And this is the same concept with the water. When you are looking the water and you're creating the current is the wind. It's the energy that is moving the current of the water to move.
Yes.
Even the same when going in towards the plants. All of the elements are used at the same time to create something because when your wind is creating the current force, the love that's going in stimulates the water to keep moving and growing. And then what will happen? The heat will change the properties of it going. And so you create matter.
Yes.
This is how this planet was shaped.
And then what about fire? How would we manipulate fire?
This will not be given.
Because I
Many
suppose that's
will,
dangerous, right?
yes, many will abuse this.
Okay.
And this is not the right time because fire is driven more with the passion. As we would say, fire's main energy stimulates more from this side in one's power. And many can get greedy in one's power if they do
Okay.
not understand how to work with the current. This will not be shared.
Are you talking about solar plexus and sacral chakras?
Yes, the solar plexus.
Solar, okay.
The solar plexus is where the main root for fire is, as we would say, because it is your power,
Yes,
it
it
is
is.
your passion.
Yes. It's the seat of power.
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
where your healing, your earth, would come more from the root.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, so anything else about manifestation with or I suppose manipulating energy with the elements?
No, because you two will get more information of that once you actually start trying. None
Yes.
of you are sitting and trying.
Yes.
You are trying in your head, but you're not trying in your physical.
Okay, so we need to take the first step, and then the next step,
Yes.
and the next step, and the next
You will
information will
only
flow.
be allowed to do this. You will only get granted permission to physically bring it in once you actually try. Once the energy sees that you are actually invested in your purpose, you will receive more of your purpose. It is still a give and take.
Yes.
One has to receive in to receive out.
Okay, very good.